Hey everyone, thanks for watching. It's late afternoon in Frankfurt and we're heading into the home of one of Germany's most famous literary figures, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. In addition to seeing his home, you can also tour the German Romantic Museum. It's attached to the house via this really sleek and modern lobby, and within the lobby you'll also find the ticket counter and bookshop. There's also a telescope you can look through. More on that later in the video. As someone who grew up in English-speaking North America, I didn't have as much exposure to Goethe's work as I should have. It seemed I was always reading the Norton anthologies of English and American literature. One of Goethe's most famous works is Faust, and in this courtyard you'll see a sculpture of Faust with Gretchen. Goethe was born in Frankfurt on August 28, 1749, and grew up in this house. He was educated in the major subjects, including multiple languages. My first stop was the parlor room. Here's a portrait of Goethe in his youth. The painting is a copy and was a gift to his mother from Duchess Anna Amalia of Saxony-Weimar. And here is Duchess Anna. Also on the ground floor is a small but functional kitchen. You'll see there's a wood stove and a water pump that pulled water from the family's private well in the cellar. A private well was a luxury, as most residents of Frankfurt at this time had to use one of the several public wells around town. A cook and two maids worked in this kitchen to provide meals for the family. The house has 4 floors: ground, where we are now, and then the first, second, and third floors. Visitors are welcome to tour all of them. The second floor has a series of rooms that were used for celebrations or to host important visitors of the time. Here's a stove with the top designed in Rococo-style landscapes. Stoves throughout this house were filled from another room. I suppose it was to keep soot and ash away from the fancy decor, and also not to interrupt any social events to restoke a fire. Across the landing on this floor is the music room. You can get a look at their upright pianoforte and a clavichord. Hanging above the clavichord is a painting of the Goethe family in a rather idyllic pastoral landscape. The painting consists of a young Johann, both his parents, and his sister Cornelia. Cornelia was born on December 7, 1750, about a year and a half after her brother. She married Johann Schlosser, a lawyer also from Frankfurt, and they had 2 daughters. Sadly, Cornelia died quite young in 1777 at the age of 26. Heading up to the second floor, you'll notice the wrought iron railings along the staircase. On this floor's landing, there's a beautiful astronomical clock that was built in 1746. It provides the time, date, phases of the moon, and position of the sun. The dancing bear in the bottom part of the casement falls onto his back when it's time to wind the clock again. Moving on, we enter the cabinet of paintings. The family collected paintings of contemporary artists. Between this room and the German Romantic Museum that I'll show you shortly, you'll really get the chance to admire some great art. There are more rooms on the third floor. I especially like this one as the paintings are from the Old Testament story of Joseph. We're now in the poet's room where Goethe spent so much time. there's a sitting desk on display and a high desk as well. He wrote his early works, including the first version of Faust, in this room. He preferred working at a standing desk. And finally, there's a room with a puppet theater. This was a gift to Goethe and his sister from their grandmother. On the wall are sketches of what it would have looked like when being used in front of an audience of children. Now let's visit the German Romantic Museum, which should also inspire you. First, let's take a closer look at the telescope I mentioned earlier. There are a few interactive exhibits in the Romantic Museum, and this telescope is here for a similar purpose. Peer into it and see what books are on the shelves behind the information counter. So this museum ties into Goethe, since much of the Romantic art and exhibits here were created during his lifetime. Here's a landscape from Caspar David Friedrich. Friedrich may have been inspired by Goethe's writing, as it had an influence on how viewers took in landscape paintings. Here's work from another famous painter, the Swiss artist Henri Fuseli. I'll keep commentary to a minimum, as quite a bit of this museum is interactive, and I think you really need to visit this place to truly enjoy it. The museum does a really nice job with these interactive exhibits, and there are plenty of placards on the wall to read as well about what you're seeing, both in German and in English. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe as I'll be adding more videos from my time in Germany shortly.